Big fluff.
Ernest, I want you to cut yourself a big knock out of these eggs erroneous.
No, I can't eat on an empty stomach.
Well, of course you can. Eddie doesn't look at that rosy glow to his teeth.
No.
Oh, come on, Bill.
No.
Now, Ernest, would somebody dressed like this lie to you about food?
Fond as I am of Tibetan cooking, a hungry lion hunts best. Know what I mean?
Now, come on. Take your little bite.
No.
Come on, Bill.
No.
Open big.
No.
Come on.
No.
Ernest?
No.
Ernest?
No.
Ernest?
No.
Eddie? It's time for the plane to go to hangar.
Ow.
Hello again, I'm Joel Murphy.
And I'm Andy McIntyre.
And this is Silver Linings Playback, the podcast where we watch maligned movies and we find their silver linings.
And we are continuing the month of June looking at camp movies with maybe the campest camp movie that ever camped, Ernest Goes to Camp.
Yeah, we're finally in it. Yeah, we're finally, like, after 2 weeks of not quite camp movies, this is where we should have been all along.
This is the campest, yes. And we have a special guest to talk to us this week, the managing director of the Baltimore Improv Group, Michelle Faulkner. Hello.
Hello. Nice to be in space and excited to talk about the campiest camp movie.
And now camp has a different definition, has many definitions, but when you talk about camp movies about camp, this is the campest. Not the British definition of camp. It's not this movie.
Not the John Waters version of camp.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I guess.
Well, maybe. Maybe
You know
it's
what
high.
I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
It's a put an asterisk by that.
Yeah.
Some moments. So Michelle, we had you on because just in conversation, it came up that you are a huge Ernest P. Worrell fan. And it took us all too long to get to this point on the podcast. We're very glad to have you talk about the original Ernest movie, Ernest Goes to Camp, the first Ernest movie, Ernest Goes to Camp.
Yes. One of the staples in my household randomly. I feel like it was on a lot on TV. And
Yes,
I just used to watch it like every time though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that all sounds right.
I'm very curious about how this came up in conversation, like that you learned.
I don't even know, but every now and then you just talk about Ernest. You talk about Jim Varney and his iconic created for an advertisement character of Ernest P. Worrell, and then
I think that's how it came up. Like,
Which
he's just this established, like, professional actor that studied Shakespeare, is playing this
immensely talented
character,
playing this weirdo redneck.
Yeah, which
that's an idiot. Like, he's so dumb.
I do think, like, I assume maybe if people are listening to this, they know, but just in case someone is consuming this and they aren't aware of what you're both saying. So just for the record, just so we're clear.
My pearls are clutched.
A world where someone doesn't know. I know it's but just specifically, and even if they've seen the movies and they don't know the backstory, like, yes, the Ernest was a character, because I feel like this is so unique, that was created as a like freelance advertisement character, like sort of a mascot, but like for hire. So, and like the Jack in the Box character, like whatever, he's just a character and you could hire him to do a local commercial where he would play this character and he would talk about your product. And he became hugely famous doing this, to the point where this is possibly an apocryphal story, but one that I read for this movie and I want to choose to believe, which is that Disney executives went to a race where Mickey Mouse came out and got a pretty good cheer. And then
Not
later
just a
Ernest
race.
came out.
The Indianapolis 500.
Okay, yeah.
The race.
Yes. So they went to the Indianapolis 500. Mickey Mouse got, cheers and applause. And then Ernest came out and got even bigger cheers, bigger applause. The fans lost their mind.
Then be Mickey Mouse.
And be Mickey Mouse. And the Disney execs were like, who is this guy? And that's how we got Ernest Goes to Camp.
Yeah. We must buy him. That's
exactly. If we can't contain him, we must own him. We must keep him under the Disney umbrella.
That's the subtext. That's not Disney's actual slogan, but it may as well be.
Yeah, it might as well be.
If we can't beat it, we might as well own it.
Well, look at where we're at now. Star Wars, like Muppets, anything that's profitable.
Marvel?
You're Disney eventually. Yeah, even Pixar was like a rival to Disney that got consumed.
I feel like they were trying to buy Sonic recently.
Probably.
Sonic the Hedgehog when they beat him out recently. It's like, no, leave him alone.
They're owning a professional wrestling company away from owning my entire childhood upbringing.
Pretty much, yeah.
Between Marvel and the Muppets and Star Wars, like, yeah, it's ridiculous. And Ernest as well, because they also who starred in 5 theatrical movies and 4 more direct-to-video releases.
Yep, but this was the first. This was the debut of Ernest on
and
film.
some would say the best. I would be in that some, but
yeah, I think so. It's the one I remember the most. It might not be the funniest.
Oh, I see Michelle.
Actually, you know what? I think you know what, Michelle's right, because I think Saves Christmas is actually the one that's jumping out at me as possibly my favorite.
Goes to Jail and Scared Stupid are mine.
Okay,
right.
I mean, listen, there's not a huge gulf between first and last with these. Like, if we're being perfectly honest,
no,
we can admit that it's not Slam Dunk Ernest. And it's not Ernest Goes to Africa, which also exists.
I was just thinking that. I didn't see Slam Dunk Ernest, and I didn't see Ernest Goes to Africa. I was like, let me just love you the way you are. Don't mess this up for me, Mr. Ernest P. Worrell.
There's definitely a point to drop off from Ernest of like the ones that we saw and remember, and then you just stop. You don't need any more.
No, Goes to Jail and Scared Stupid are good.
Yeah.
But Slam Dunk Ernest is right on the edge because, you know, the rules of basketball don't say you can't have an Ernest P. Worrell on the court.
That's true.
I should just watch it for shits and gigs. Like, that one's not going to offend me. I don't think it would, like, it doesn't have the potential to offend me. Like
the way Ernest Goes to Africa. Like,
yeah.
Like, I want to love you just the way you are. And don't fuck this up for me.
No way is Ernest Goes to Africa not incredibly offensive. Like, I can't imagine a world.
Oh, it has to be.
Yeah, I can't imagine a world where that toes the line of cultural sensitivity in any way, shape, or form. You know, Slam Dunk Ernest is probably pushing boundaries, but who knows? But we're talking about Ernest Goes to Camp. Yeah. And as I was saying before we started recording, I remember watching this movie many, many, many times, and I'm shocked at how much I didn't remember about this movie going back and watching it.
Yes.
I feel like I blocked out the first 10 minutes of this film. Like, I was like, what is this ritual up top? Like,
it does hard open with a cut scene, like, to, you know, that's, I guess, tied to the end. But yeah, we get a very weird, like, just no, you know, this is just the past. We're not exactly sure when. Opening scene, of the ritual of, like, how the knife won't cut you,
yes, like, the rite of passage of the Kikiki Braves.
Yeah. But I also think that makes sense because, as you were saying, Michelle, I think this movie is one that I probably haven't seen from the beginning that many times. I think it was just on TV and it's like, okay, it's at this part, so I'm going to pick it up halfway through. I'm going to pick it up, like, right at the end, because the end I remember very well, and the beginning I'm very hazy. Yeah.
No, and I remember Lyle Alzado playing the big tough construction guy. I have vivid memories of that.
Yeah.
I remember.
I didn't know his name, but I hated him for the rest of his acting career.
I remember the kids and their belly shirts.
Yeah.
Of course.
All of them. There were several.
But yeah, I'd pretty much forgotten that the dean from Animal House was the other villain. Like that had escaped me. I'd forgotten the kitchen guys with their weird recipes, like eggs erroneous.
A major plot point in this movie is eggs erroneous, and their quest to get it perfect, which I guess it doesn't even pay off in the end. It just is still mentioned in the final battle.
They just throw a gross egg dish at the bad guys at one point, and that
and it's gross, and you know.
I mean, it's called erroneous, which is not a compliment.
It's not. You're absolutely correct. There was so I remember that restaurant cook couple, but I think for the rest of the films it's some other guy. I didn't remember this one guy he had in there. But I think there's another maybe an older guy. He don't talk much. I feel like maybe he was in some of the kitchen scenes, but I do remember the heavier guy. Like some of the other, like these are reoccurring characters.
Yeah, I have a memory of him in other Ernest movies.
I don't know if it's been a duo the whole time.
Yeah,
but seeing this guy, I don't recall him in any other film, but the first guy I remember, the one that had most of the talking lines.
The chef,
right?
The one that's making the eggs. Yeah.
Yes.
I recognize him too for sure.
Yeah. There was this like a cut scene, like credit scene. Did you see this? Where he like makes him eat something, and he like turns into this like jazz singer, or like I don't know. It was very odd. I was like, oh,
mad I didn't see it.
No, well, I also I think it's important maybe to note how Andy and I watched this movie, because Andy did send me a text, and he was, because we had planned on doing this and we had you set up for the show, and then he was like, this movie's not available anywhere, and we were trying to figure out what to do, and I actually found online that the Internet Archive had a version of this online, and it was The Wonderful World of Disney
that's
TV
how I
broadcast.
watched it.
Okay, that's how you watched it too. But
it had the commercials and everything.
Yeah, and it was a TV broadcast with commercials. Yeah, and that is how I watched the movie. So if that had the cut scene, I didn't remember seeing it, but
you got to watch it all the way to the end.
I did.
It's like
the post-credit scene
are going up, and he's like trying to make him eat these eggs or whatever it is. So you see him shoving it. You don't see him like. You see the back of his head trying to like shove it in his mouth. And then the other character like blossoms into this like jazzy singer and like walks off. I was like, what the hell did I just watch? Magic food? Like, what is this?
No, I bailed because it was like, it was doing the TV thing of the sped up credits, and it was like a voiceover, like, stay tuned next for, whatever. And so like I stopped it, but I should have kept it going.
I will have to show you the link because it went all the way through it.
All right.
I still have the tab on my browser. So I'm gonna as soon as we close here, I'm gonna go back to it and watch this banana scene.
Well, I also but before we continue though, too, that does remind me, we do actually have to take a quick commercial break on our show here real quick. So
the magical world of Disney will return after these messages.
It's a Music Man murder. Did a hitman kill him because he didn't make a record?
His job wasn't that important to be killed for.
See if you can help solve an important unsolved mystery. Then the summer's newest hit, Singer & Sons, moves to its new night.
How long do you think we can hold out here?
And the laughs continue on Dear John. Then
I can't see.
Sam's lost his sight.
You are blind.
Now, he's the last hope for a woman stalked by a serial killer. Quantum Leap.
Wednesday.
Now, back to our program.
And we're back.
No memory of Singer & Sons. I will say that much.
That is a fake show. That is not a real television show.
Okay,
no, I did see an ad for the first must-see TV ad for NBC that was The Cosby Show, Cheers, and Seinfeld on the same night.
Oh no!
Yeah.
And what a night of television, let me tell you.
Yeah. Back in the day.
I'm mad I don't remember this episode of Quantum Leap where Sam is blind. I really want to know how that worked out. I feel like I have to go back.
I bet he saved the day and then leapt into another body.
Oh boy.
I bet.
I'm going to go out on a limb, just wild stab in the dark here. I think even a blind man could maybe guess the outcome of that episode. So I guess we should dig into a little bit, because this movie, if you look at the Rotten Tomato scores, has around a 50%. But if you look at any other aggregator, the number goes way down. Like the Metacritic rating is like 24%. And some of the other like individual reviews are pretty bad, which, we can talk about why they're wrong in a minute, but there's some reasons why that kind of makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
Mm-hmm.
But back in a time when we had the Cleveland Indians and the Washington Redskins and other such organizations, but it's not the most sensitive to Native Americans' culture, I would say.
Well, and I think we have to talk about the fact that the Native American character in this movie who owns the camp is played by Iron Eyes Cody, who is sort of famously, and he was the crying Native American from the picking up the trash 70s campaign.
Yeah.
But he is also famously now known to be an Italian guy who was pretending to be Native American.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
And I think I just broke that news to Michelle, and I'm sorry.
He's a liar.
He is a liar. In fact, none of it was true.
Devastated.
Yeah, he was not actually Native American. He's Italian.
No, he is an Italian man, Iron Eyes Cody. But after playing that role in the 70s littering campaign, only played Native American characters from that point forward.
Well, and from what I read, as Andy and I would say as wrestling fans, he lived the gimmick. Apparently he would only ever, he dressed as a Native American. He presented himself he always he maintained. The thing was, it came out, his sister actually came out and was like, we're Italian, and presented birth certificates and stuff. And he was still no, she's lying.
Lies.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, his real name was Giuseppe Spaghetti, but
no,
it wasn't.
I think his last name actually was Coti, it was an Italian thing that he changed it to Cody from a COTI something. He did actually take his name and changed it from Italian.
Remixed it.
Yeah, he remixed it. But yeah, sorry to break that.
I am really apologize.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know people do it. I know it's a thing.
Yeah.
But
and then, I think it was, not that it was okay, but it was easier to get away with, I'd say. So it was a much more, viable career path at the time.
For sure.
Yeah. No,
and this is, I think, his last movie role too.
Yeah, I think it was. But no, his real name was Espera Oscar de Corti. So
Corti, that's what
Corti.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah. And he first played a role called Chief Iron Eyes in the Bob Hope movie The Paleface.
Not good.
Not already off to a bad start. And then dubbed himself Iron Eyes Cody going forward. And yeah, his half sister's like, no, he's Italian. He's like, no, I'm totally Native American. And
I think just for this movie, I guess in the movie's defense, I would say at the time it was not well known because it was later. I think it was in the 90s that his sister came out and said it. So it wasn't people thought that he was Native American, so they thought they were casting a Native American actor in the movie. But I think it does sort of speak to a lot of the issues of just the presentation is not good. And I think that probably stems from the fact that it's the guy you hired to make sure, if there was care being put to let's do this the right way and you're listening to him, he's probably not going to have the answers. Yeah.
There was no care in that.
No.
Although I do think the actress that played his daughter, Victoria Racimo, was actually.
She was actually.
I think she was actually of Native American descent.
Okay. Let's hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I guess I'm saying I think if they were looking to Iron Eyes Cody to be like, is this okay? And he's like, sure. Yeah, it's fine. Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Just, perfecto, eh?
Exactly.
Bellissima.
And I was like, oh, his hair was a wig. I think it was. I was looking at his hair the whole time. What is up with his hair? Okay.
But yeah, so
makes sense now.
The other thing I'll say is I remember this movie, not to say this movie isn't very wholesome, but I somehow remember it being like even more benign than it actually is. Like the kids are way meaner to Ernest than I remember.
Yeah. I didn't like that.
And all it takes is a stern talking to from Nurse St. Cloud to sharpen them up. It's like, Ernest has been nothing but kind to you guys and tried to make you feel to fit in. And you just treated him like a jerk. And they're like, oh, yeah, you're right.
Well, also, not only that about Ernest also had to save the life of one of them because that other dude was trying to drown a kid.
He looked like
he
just was a piece of shit, like immediately. Like
yes.
I don't know if it was the shades or the shorts or his shit-eating grin. I was just like...
It was the whole thing.
But yeah, that scene, like, it goes hard in terms of, like, there feels like real danger in that scene.
No, he straight up tries to murder the youngest and smallest and blackest.
Yes. Come on.
Yeah.
Because that's where it's at. You saw the black kid didn't know how to swim or hesitated to get in the pool or the shit, I'm going to call it the ocean.
Right.
The ocean.
Yeah.
And you pushed him in with the purpose to kill him. That is the only thing that I could come up with.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no reprimanding him.
No.
Well, I guess they did. They did their own. They shoved his chair into the water and broke his leg. So I guess
I'm talking about administration.
Oh, but yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They should be nicer to Ernest because Ernest is the only person who's looking out for all of you because no one else in charge has your back at all.
But yeah,
nobody.
Instead, they respond by field dressing him in bandages and then driving away in a bus.
And giving him poison ivy to rub on his face.
Yeah. Yep. That's how they repay him. Yeah. And that was after you saved his life.
Yeah.
And they all loved Moose.
Yeah. Terrible.
He was obviously my favorite.
Yeah.
Of course.
He's the best.
Moose is the best.
Yeah.
Just the fact that the tiny kid named Mustafa Hakeem Jones and goes by Moose. No notes. That's perfect.
Yeah.
No notes.
Yeah.
No notes. Perfect casting.
But yeah, the basic plot of this movie, for those of you that don't remember, Ernest wants nothing more in the world than to be a camp counselor. And they bring these second chance kids, the bad kids in their belly shirts to Camp Kikiki. Yeah. And they first put him in charge of this guy, Sturgis, who tries to murder Mustafa, who tries to murder Moose. And
pretty
then Ernest gets immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah. Day one.
Off the bus.
Yeah. Within an hour. Within an hour.
Their bags aren't even unpacked. He's like, get your swim trunks. We're going out to the lake. Like,
so I can murder you.
Yeah.
Get ready.
And meanwhile, there's also this mining concern that is trying to buy the camp to mine.
Well, because it's full of unobtainium that they need to get a hold of for whatever, like...
Petricite was the word they used.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to be fair, they were offering Cody, or the old Indian chief as he's listed in the credits, a pretty sweet deal.
Also, side note, bad that he doesn't have a name. Also, can we note that we didn't name that character?
He didn't have a name?
No. And his daughter has a name, Nurse St. Cloud, but he's just old Indian chief.
He can't be like Mr. St. Cloud? Like she's his daughter.
Jim St. Cloud?
Yeah, just pick first name St. Cloud would have worked.
Iron Eyes St. Cloud? Any of it.
Yeah.
That's Cody St. Cloud.
Whatever. Mustafa Hakeem St. Cloud.
Indian
any of
chief.
it.
That's his name.
Bad.
Old Indian chief.
It's bad. Yeah.
Wow. Yep.
I didn't catch that. You are bringing so much to my attention this evening.
No, we dig deep on these. Let me tell you. Yeah, and well, and then I mean, to be fair, Nurse St. Cloud doesn't have a first name. She's in the credits as Nurse St. Cloud.
We don't know that her first name isn't Nurse.
That's fair.
So yeah,
it's not.
Hopefully,
but that's fair.
Because it could be.
Yeah.
The other her father's name is Old Indian.
Yeah.
Last name Chief.
But so there's trying to, Ernest and the kids trying to learn to love each other while also the camp is being taken over by this mining concern. And then they attack them with turtles and save the day.
Well, also you are leaving out one important plot detail that I think we have to mention, which is that it's Ernest's fault that they end up signing the deed over. Yes. Like Ernest is tricked into convincing Iron Eyes Cody to sign over the camp.
Sign the information. That's true. That's true.
And then he feels really bad. And also we get, which, you know what, we should put a pin in this for when we pivot.
Oh,
but,
yeah, we need to put a pin in this.
Yeah, okay. So Well, we'll get, I think, we'll have to get there. But, okay. But I think we're ready. Are we ready?
I mean, I'm ready to pivot to go to the silver linings of this movie. Yeah.
One question, though, and maybe I'll save this one for later.
Okay.
I'll save it for later.
Okay. All right. Then we're pivoting.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's very epic.
I mean, the silver linings of this movie, I don't want to say they begin and end with Jim Varney, but man, does Jim Varney, aka Ernest P. Worrell, he rules. Mm-hmm. He's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny because I just watched the Pee Wee Herman documentary, which is also very good, and I think I'm just like in this moment where I'm very nostalgic for these types of characters of just like guy who created a character that then became a phenomenon that starred in movies and TV shows and stuff, and they both did it, and it's such a like classic Hollywood because it's like. That's Charlie Chaplin was like the idea of someone that like played the same character in every movie. And it was just like, what situation can we put a guy in? And
how there were Laurel and Hardy movies and Abbott and Costello movies. Like they might have had character names, but it was Laurel and Hardy. It was the Three Stooges. Yeah. And I think Jim Varney and Pee Wee Herman are very much cut of that ilk as well. I haven't watched the Pee Wee documentary yet because I'm not ready to be sad. I don't feel like being sad right now. But I do really want to. I've heard really good things about it. And I do want to watch it, but I've not yet. But no, Jim Varney's great.
Yeah, and I do, Michelle, you mentioned this before too, and I've been saving this for the silver linings part, but I have one final clip to play, and I think this is important.
Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew.
This is Jim Varney, a trained professional actor.
God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Know what I mean?
Know what I mean?
Right?
Perfect.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
He's a gem.
But yeah, I love classically trained Shakespearean actor who became this character.
The lovable idiot. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And, Ernest's relentless positivity is refreshing.
It is.
And the fact that he might also be superhuman.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I also
think
he
can't be injured.
Well, but I also do. If any academics are listening to this, I would love someone to write an academic paper on studying the idea of. I think when we went from Ernest to Larry the Cable Guy, you can chart the downfall of America and what we lost when our Southern idiot character went from Ernest to Larry the Cable Guy. That's my theory, and I want someone to run with it.
That is a good theory right there.
I mean, I've been thinking about getting my PhD. That's as good a place to start as any.
Please Please
Come
read that
on.
paper.
That sounds like that's right for me to go back to school, right? there.
Yeah.
No, I think you might be right. I think
No, absolutely.
there was some love
Absolutely.
for
I didn't think about
simple
that.
Southern folk
Well,
with Ernest.
and again,
that
it's
went away
like
with Larry the
for
Cable Guy.
for everything that's wrong with this movie, and I think the stuff that's wrong is incredibly valid. But like when you take a step back and you look at, like, we were all watching this as a kid, and it's ultimately a movie about how like the rich developers are bad. Like what's important is community, and like you have to take care of each other. Standing up, maybe doing some eco-terrorism, but like definitely like standing up for your camp, like, you know, standing together, having each other's backs. Like, I think there's a good core message that I am glad I got as a kid from this movie.
Yeah.
And I'd agree with that. And even like when the assistant capitalist pig was like, well, I mean, who can own a tree? Like he started to have a change of heart.
Yeah.
You know, and who can own a tree?
Who can? Mm-hmm.
Although I did look, we pivoted, but like, doesn't that kind of undercut the their ownership claim? Because if you're arguing that nobody can own this land, then do you own it? Like, you know, I think you might find, yeah.
That's fair. I mean, that's how Manhattan got traded for $32 in beads. So, you know.
Yeah.
No. I think there's one particular song to talk about too, but I didn't appreciate as a young child the fact that Ernest has a pet turtle, and then they're like, let's sing him a song, and then they sing Happy Together by the Turtles.
It's good.
Like that didn't hit me until thinking back. Like really this watch, I was like, oh, of course. Yeah, of course they do a song by the Turtles. Also, Happy Together, banger. Just great song.
Yeah,
like
classic.
That is just a great tune. And the like triumphant march version played while while Pokey and his family are paratrooping onto the bad guys.
What a cute name too, Pokey.
Pokey the turtle. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that he talks to the turtle so much too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because they wouldn't let him do his signature talk to the camera and talk to Vern, other than the very opening scene.
Right.
Because they didn't think it would work in a movie. And
interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he doesn't do his like standard like to the camera monologues that are like from the Hey Vern, It's Ernest TV show that he did shortly after this, and the other ones
that
too.
Makes so much sense because he had pets every movie. Yep. I think this was the only turtle. I think there was a dog somewhere in there.
Definitely.
Yeah. But then they also do like they start him on a ladder so that he is kind of mirroring a lot of the commercials, because a lot of the commercials he'd be on a ladder, like on a roof,
poking his head in the window,
you know? doing some kind of maintenance of some sort. Yeah.
Yeah. So they definitely were like, okay, here's what you're looking for, opening shot, and then now we're gonna like pull it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, Jim Varney
that was a good intro after the
weird scene.
Well, yeah, after the cold open.
Like, what?
Yeah. Which, look, for everything that's problematic about all the Native American stuff and how ridiculous the end is, there's something satisfying about the evil rich man pointing a gun at Ernest and not being able to shoot him, and him putting his finger in the gun at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Yep.
Very, very Looney Tunes.
It is. It's 100%. I think all that was missing is the guy should have pulled the trigger and the gun should have exploded into his
and should have bananas
instead. Yeah, backwards.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's why he didn't do it though, because he knew that's what would happen.
Because he'd seen his Bugs Bunny. He knew.
Yeah.
He knew.
Yeah. Everything Jim Varney does is great. I don't know, like to pick, and he doesn't even do a lot of his signature stuff, like his like, oh.
He does a little bit. There's a little bit of that, yeah.
But when you think about all the Ernestisms, other than him saying "know what I mean," he punctuates everything he says. A lot of those are missing. And then
there was like this. It felt like a 10-minute toilet plunging experience.
It's very long opening scene with it, and he does do the EU like while cleaning the toilets. Yeah,
yeah.
That's like his monologue, right? He's like monologuing to the camera while cleaning toilets. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
hilarious.
I did also enjoy there's like a sort of Rube Goldberg, he's sitting in a camp chair trying to make some food, and he gets tangled in the device that he's made.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that there's like the rotisserie chickens and the corn and the everything, and
yeah.
Oh, these, yeah. And I mean, the heartwarming story of the kids warming up to him when they realize that he's definitely had their best interests at heart and coming around. And even then the stuck up kids from the camp that have been doing nothing but like belittling the second chance kids come around, and then they build a tank.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, let me point out first though that these rich kids that burned their teepee to the ground.
To the ground.
Yeah.
And like intentionally left clues so they'd know exactly who did it. Oh,
they wanted him to know for sure. That was not a mystery.
I was like, they earned that brawl. They earned absolutely fucked them up. Mm-hmm.
We teed it up, but we haven't actually talked about the like truly like not played for laughs emotional when we hit the low point of the movie when Ernest has lost the camp and everyone's kind of mad at him and everything, that he does a sincere musical number about being sad, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I always cry when it's raining is I think the chorus.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm glad it's raining because that's covering his tears. Yeah. Which is, again, that's kind of the Flight of the Conchords ended up having a similar song years later. I'm Not Crying. It's kind of those vibes of like,
it's also very
so sincere.
It's not played as a joke in the movie, and it does. There's something inside me that does get sad for Ernest, like when he sings.
It's very Kermit the Frog. It
is.
Much so
yeah. According to IMDb trivia, which
sorry,
which I always want to believe, but apparently he did it live on set in one take.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised about that at all either.
He's
but
a professional.
That's the type of professional that Jim Varney was.
That's what you get when you get a classically trained Shakespearean actor to
give it to you real quick.
Yeah,
but no, like that. It's the only musical number in this entire show, in this entire movie, which is a weird choice, but it's so sincere. And it's just this lovely, sad lament about him reflecting on everything, and that I'm glad that it's raining, so you can't see my tears.
Yeah, which now that you've said it, all I'm thinking is there is a Rainbow Connection vibe to it. It has that same melancholy to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Ernest P. Worrell and Kermit the Frog share the same relentless optimism about the world, despite everyone working against them. So they're very much cut from the same cloth.
He's a human Kermit the Frog. That's it.
I'm amazed that no one's made this connection sooner, but that is unbelievably true.
Y'all can just hand me my PhD right now.
You've done it.
Like, just give it up. Like,
I mean, listen. They give out doctorates like that, right? You just got to go into debt and then you get a doctorate. That's how that works, right?
Well, I mean, you should talk to Kermit the Frog, because didn't he just do the commencement speech at the University of Maryland?
He did. He did.
He'd be the one to ask.
That was so cool.
Which wasn't the first time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Really?
No, he's actually it might be his first time at Maryland, but it's not the first commencement speech that Kermit the Frog has given.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's done Maryland before, because there is a Kermit the Frog bench on campus.
There is,
because of
that's
just
true.
Jim Henson. Yeah,
because Jim Henson was a UMD alum, so there is the connection.
I didn't realize. Okay,
yeah.
I knew he was from this area, but I didn't know he was.
Yeah, so that's the tie. So again, like I said, I don't know that Kermit has given the commencement speech before at Maryland, but I've seen other videos of him giving commencement speeches, which is great.
Yeah,
it is.
He's a better speaker than some other people that gave commencement speeches that weekend at like military academies. But anyways, this movie, it was a fun nostalgia trip, despite me thinking I remembered the movie better than I actually did.
Yeah. Also, Turtles parachuting at the end is great.
the turtles
visual.
parachuting at the end. The whole last act is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a great third act. It really is.
It is.
Just all of the like DIY, improvised weapons that they come up with, like, are good.
The turtle assaults at everything. Yeah, it's
them slowly coming down to attack you. It's like
also it did just hit me. It's a pretty good setup and payoff of in the earlier scene with Ernest with the turtle. It bites his nose. And it's like, the campers come in and he's trying to downplay it. But it's like that actually is setting up the idea that these turtles will just attack you. And then that actually helps sell the final battle in a kind of subtle way.
It was Chekhov's turtle the whole time.
It was. Yeah.
This is, again, little light on the actual camp of it. They're at camp for parts of it, but there isn't a ton of camp activity, but still like.
It feels very camp though. Like I said, but after the previous few weeks, like this is a camp movie in my mind.
Yeah.
Like I think it hits the beats for sure. Like it feels like we're at
because not only do the kids start like caring about Ernest, but they start caring about nature, real nature. Like that's like they come to the realization that, and they build the teepee and they make their change and they earn their second chance, and then they commit a felonious assault against some capitalist pigs, which is what you want. Really.
Yeah,
that's what you want.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we all go to camp. That's what you're there to learn. So
socialism.
I thought it was also cool or interesting that like I feel like whenever Ernest like either messed himself up or the kids messed himself up, they were like, oh, this is like a med kit opportunity. Med kit, like they were constantly saying this, oh, we're gonna wrap him up or we're gonna fix him up. Even though we were the ones that jacked him up.
Yeah.
No, the CPR training is on point at that camp.
Yes.
Like they know where the supplies are, they know how to use them. Well,
their first aid training is perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I think we did it.
No, this movie, if you can find it.
I will bring up that thing.
Okay.
Bring up my
perfect.
Thing. The character this reoccurring character of the cart, it's a cart that gets loose.
That's right.
And it just constantly comes back and just makes this little entrance and exit. I don't think people pay too much attention to it, but I love it so much.
It is just happening in the background for sure. But yeah, it's
the cart is just going. Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's very much like I think it inspired Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets with the car that came to life. It's more stealing from that franchise. But no, the cart is great. It's a great like background gag that is again this. You could tell definitely that Jim Varney and John Cherry, the director, like really cared about this character and really cared about making a good movie too.
Yeah, which John Cherry is the other sort of mastermind of Ernest. Like he directed all the commercials. He directed, I think, all the subsequent Ernest movies. Like I think they did them all together.
That's cool.
And so it's nice. Did I see that someone bring something to life that they created? It's such a weird story.
Oh, so he was kind of like Vern, the original Vern.
He kind of
might be Vern. Yeah.
Aww.
He might be Vern.
That's very sweet.
Yeah. Well, before we go, are there Michelle things that you would like to tell people about or point people towards, or this is your free chance to plug anything you would like to mention?
Oh man. Hey, if you're in the Baltimore area, you should come down to the Baltimore Improv Group. We have wonderful shows weekly, and we're a pretty cool community as well. So
it is.
Come on through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you can't come through, you should donate money to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Period.
Yeah.
That's it. We're a nonprofit.
The Baltimore Improv Group is great. You can also see Andy perform there. That's how Andy and I met. So yeah, big fans of the Baltimore Improv Group for sure. And many of our guests have been Baltimore Improv Group people on this show.
Most, as a matter of fact.
I would say, yeah, the vast majority have been Baltimore Improv alums for sure.
Yeah, for every, quasi Hollywood industry related guest we get, there's 3 Baltimore Improv Group guests. I think that we've had on this podcast.
For every Des Malchin, there's a Windmuller.
Yeah, it's true. No, Michelle, thank you so much for doing this. I'm so glad we got to talk about Ernest P. Worrell on a podcast.
Me too.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, no, this was so much fun.
Let me know when you do another one.
Oh, we've now
Halloween's
opened
right
the can
around
of
the corner.
worms. Yeah,
It
Halloween,
is.
Christmas.
We need to revisit that one.
Yeah, we've opened it up. I think we have to see this through and watch all of the
I think
Ernest
at
movies.
least the
Watch all
theatrical
of them.
releases. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean, Vern?
I'm gonna watch Africa. I'm gonna watch Africa.
Oh,
We'll save that one for last, and we'll see if we
We'll
can make
see.
it through
Do
it.
yeah.
Do it.
Know what I mean?
Gee, I'm glad it's raining. There's always something to be thankful for. I'm awfully glad it's raining, 'cause no one sees your teardrops when it pours. And no one knows the thunder is your heartbreak in disguise. They think the rainy nights what put that sad look in your eyes. Sure, I'm glad it's raining. The gentle rhythm soothes the pain inside. I'm glad the stars aren't shining. A wounded warrior needs a place to hide. I thought I had found someone I could count on till the end. What they wanted was a hero. All I needed was a friend. Gee, I'm glad it's raining. I hope the morning sun won't come up soon. As long as it keeps raining, no one knows my heart broke right in two. I thought I had found someone I could count on till the end. What they wanted was a hero. All I needed was a friend. Sure, I'm glad it's raining. I'm awfully glad it's raining.
Silver Linings Playback is a production of HoboTrashcan.com. If you enjoyed the show, please rate or review it on Apple Podcasts. Hear more great shows on the Peak Sloth Podcast Network.